Alright, my dear learners over there, I greet you. How are you doing? Let me hope that you are doing well. So, as usual, we are going to start with our word bank, and this is lesson 30. So we are going to start with this, our first word, and this word is read as pinna. This one is read as pinna. If you don't call this one pinna, it is also called the ear lobe. So this is the part of an outer ear, if you remember the parts of the ear, whereby this is what we call the pinna, and its function is to collect and direct sound waves. So it corrects and directs the sound waves into the ear, whereby this is the auditory canal. Our other word is cycle. So this one can be a rain cycle or a water cycle. So this is the process through which water is replaced into the atmosphere. Remember, we said water, it's a natural resource and is a renewable resource, so it can be replaced naturally when it is getting used up through what to call a water cycle. Then this is the word amphibian. The word is amphibian. So sorry, this a is not there, so it is amphibian. So these are the animals that can live on land and in water, and the best examples are the frogs. Then you can have the toads when they go to lay eggs in water. Then you have the newts. Then we have also the salamanders, whereby we said a frog lays eggs in a big man's spawn, whereas a toad lays its eggs in a double-born spawn. Okay, so this is the word erosion. So from the word erode, we get the word erosion. So it is erosion. So what does soil erosion mean? So soil erosion means the act of removing, so the removal or the taking away. It's not washing, it is just the taking away of topsoil by the agents. What are the agents? That is the fast flowing water, and then the animals that are moving, and also the strong wind. They are the agents. However, members confuse the agents with what we call the causes. The causes, what are the things that make this soil to be taken, like deforestation, talk of bush burning, overcultivation, overgrazing, monocropping, and so on. Alright, so we have grazing. So we said in the previous lessons, we said that grazing is the proper use of grassland within the area, and we said we have three. We have rotational grazing, which we discussed, as we have tethering, we have paddocking, strip grazing, and then we have herding, which is also called the free range, and also the zero grazing. Then this is the word tethering. The word is tethering. It is tethering. Then tethering, this is the act of tying an animal on a peg or a stake using a rope, right? So we have this other word, percussion. The word is percussion. The word is percussion. So what does this word mean? So percussion, these are the musical instruments that produce sound by the vibration of their surfaces when the surfaces are beaten. So percussion musical instruments are the musical instruments that produce sound when their surfaces vibrate after being beaten. Then we have this one, penicillin. This is an antibiotic. It is an antibiotic. When I talk of the word antibiotic, it means that a drug which can fight the bacteria. Remember, in the previous lessons we discussed bacteria, and we said that these bacteria, for them, they do what? They are harmful in a way that they can cause food poisoning, they can cause diseases, they can cause infections. So to avoid or to treat those bacterial problems, bacterial diseases, we use antibiotics, and we have very many antibiotics, but we have this one which is called penicillin, and this penicillin is obtained from a fungus. Yes, it is obtained from a fungus, and this fungus is called Penicillium, and this one is questionable. They will ask you, name the antibiotics we make from, or we obtain from the fungi or the fungus. Then that is the penicillin. Then the fungus becomes the penicillium. Lastly, we have this word, reptiles. So the word is reptiles. The word is reptiles. So reptiles comes from the word reptalia, and what does the word reptalia mean? Reptalia means the animals that move by crawling. The animals that move by crawling, the crawlers, like the crocodiles, the turtles, the tortoises, the terrapins, and the tortoises. plus the alligators and the chameleons and some other lizards. So those are what you call reptiles. So we have reptiles, pinna, grazing, tethering, percussion, penicillin, amphibians, cycle, and erosion. Let me hope that up to now, right now, you can read, you can spell, you can give meanings of different scientific terms. So let us move on and see our diagram for today. So today we are going to discuss what we call changes in the states of matter. So changes in the states of what? Matter. Remember we said matter is anything that has weight and occupies space, and we said that why is carbon dioxide called matter? It is called matter simply because it occupies space, it has weight. Are you getting that? And we said that this matter is made up of particles which we call molecules, and now these molecules, between these molecules we have forces of attraction, and now these forces of attraction are called they are called forces of attraction, and there are two in a type. So you have what we call the adhesion forces and cohesion forces, as we have been discussing in our lessons, whereby we said adhesion means different and C means common. So these are forces of attraction between molecules of the same substances. Here forces of attraction between molecules of different substances. When I said different substances, I mean when they are of different states of matter, a solid and a liquid. When you get a plate, you pour there water is a liquid and a plate is a solid. So these molecules in a plate, they are attracting the force the molecules of water. Then that attraction is what we call adhesion. So they are between molecules of different substances. When you bathe, you are a solid, water is a liquid, so your body is attracting the water. So that is what we call adhesion forces. So cohesion forces, when you have milk and you add there water, they are all liquids. So that is what we call cohesion forces. So cohesion forces are forces of attraction between molecules of the same substances, whereas adhesion forces of attraction between different substances. And we say that these molecules, the nature, the strength of the cohesion forces gives us what we call states of matter. We say that some molecules are strongly held onto each other, making what we call a solid state. Others are far away from each other, making gaseous. Others are nearer, just nearer, so making what we call the liquid state of matter. All right, so when you look at this one, we are having our states of matter. Let us now understand them. Let us get a different color here which is visible. Now when look at, now we are having arrows. Now this is the heat source, right? This is the heat source. Now when look at this one, we are seeing steam. We are seeing steam or the water, the water vapor. Then here we are looking at a liquid, and this liquid, it is water. That is a state of matter. And now we are having ice cubes. So these are the ice cubes, and these ice cubes are solids, right? And now this steam, it is under the gaseous state. Now these are the three states of matter right now. However, when you join secondary, we shall look at another one which is called the plasma, where we put electricity, we put light, those ones there. Now we are now going to look at this, and now these changes in the states of matter, they are under what we call the physical changes. So they are under what we call physical changes. Why? They are reversible, as we are seeing. So it can go this way, it can come back, it can go this way, it can come back. So they are reversible, and they don't form a new substance. So no new substance is formed, and here there is no change in quantity. So there is no change in weight, there is no change in mass, and again heat or light is neither given out or absorbed. So now when look at, let us start with this state of matter. We are looking at a liquid turning to a gas. What is this one? It means that this liquid here, this liquid is turning to a gas here, meaning that this liquid has been subjected to heat, so it is evaporating. So this state of matter is called evaporation. So let this one be A. So evaporation is the process by which a liquid turns to a gas. Then again we can get this gas coming back to a liquid. Then that is what we call condensing, and that is the condensation. The word is condensation. Now from there we are having these ice cubes turning to water, and now these ice cubes are undergoing what we call melting. Therefore melting is the process by which a solid turns to a liquid. Then again this liquid can turn it back to a solid, and this is what we call freezing. So freezing is the process by which a liquid turns to a solid. Then again, we are seeing this solid can turn directly to a gaseous state, and that is what we call sublimation. And the substances that can undergo sublimation, one, we have the iodine crystals. Then we have solid carbon dioxide. Now this solid carbon dioxide is also called ice, which is used in those mobile refrigerators. Those people used to sell ice cream, but they have those containers, so they are having what we call sodium carbon dioxide. And also there is what we call ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride. So these ones are called the sublimants. They can sublime, they can change directly to a vapor, to a gas, right? Now again, we can get this gas and it's trapped back to a solid, and now this is what we call a solidification or deposition. So those are the changes in the states of matter. We've said we have condensation, evaporation, deposition, melting, freezing, and also sublimation. So, and we've said these are physical changes because they don't form any substance. They are reversible. And again, heat or light is neither absorbed or given nor given out. So those are the changes in the states of what? Of matter. Are we there? And what you have to remember, water at 100 degrees Celsius is called steam, and water at 0 degrees it is called ice. Then water at room temperature it is called water, meaning that water can exist in the three states of matter. So water exists in the three states of matter, my dear learner. Have you remembered that? Alright, so let us move on and see what we are going to discuss today in this lesson we are having here. Okay, so in this lesson we are going to discuss more of the grazing as we discussed in the previous lesson, and the grazing we are going to look at today is called the Xero Grazing. Now what is this Xero Grazing? So Xero Grazing is the system where animals are fed indoors. So this is a system where animals are fed indoors inside the shelters. So you construct a shelter here, then you keep your animals inside here. So you bring for them water, you bring for them feeds, you care for them, you treat them from here. So everything is done from inside here. So that system of grazing is what we call a Xero Grazing. So Xero Grazing is the system of grazing where animals are fed indoors, inside there. Now we saw without going out to graze, because we said grazing, that is when we see animals eat grass from outside. So with Xero Grazing, animals are just kept indoors. And now what you have to know about this Xero Grazing, it is suitable for those urban members. So it is majorly practiced in towns. So why? Because in towns there is what we call lack of enough land. So there is shortage of land. Now that's why this Xero Grazing, it is suitable. You just construct a shelter, you buy your cow, you put it inside there. But then leaving it, now you don't have grass. Where will you take the paddocking? Because it is a town, flats are there, roads are there, it is a busy area. So in urban areas, the suitable method of grazing those animals, it is called Xero Grazing. So why is it suitable within town areas? Because those people in towns, they don't have enough land. If now you are a farmer and you want to start this one, let us see the requirements. What do you need to start what we call the Xero Grazing? Requirements for a Xero Grazing. 1, you should have a garden. This farmer should have a garden where the fodder crops are going to be grown. Fodder crops, those are the crops that are being given to those animals. They have a lot of carbohydrates and proteins, the bisagazi, and sort of. So you have to build that garden where you have to grow the fodder crops, because animals have to feed. Number 2, a farmer should have a drainage channels. So the drainage channels, where when now these animals urinate, where will the urine go? Because we're in an urban area, you have neighbors, you will not let this urine to just go meandering everywhere to the neighbors, eat cow dung. No. You have to construct, or you have to be what we call a well drainage channel. So and here you require to be with what we call a feed trough. So you have to be with a feed trough. Let me rub this one so that you see the spelling clearly. So you have to be with a feed what? Not a feeding, but a feed trough. 4, you have to be with a water trough where you put water for this animal. Then number 5, you should have what we call a well constructed shed. A well constructed shed, so that these animals, they don't stray, so they don't stray, right? And again, here you should be with what we call a chart, a chart cutter. So you know a chart cutter, that machine which we use to cut the bisagazi, to cut the fodder crops, to just harvest them, then you take them and give those animals you are having indoors. Then again, you need to be with a store where you keep the equipment. And again, number 8, there must be what you call a place for cleaning the equipments. You have to provide that one, the gumboots, the spades, the bangers, the knives, and so on. So a place for cleaning the equipment you have used. And also lastly, you have to be with workers. Yes, you have to be with workers who are going to feed or your animals. So those are some of the requirements you have to look at before setting up what we call the Xero Grazing. Now let us see the advantages. Advantages of Xero Grazing. How good is it? The advantages here. Number 1, many animals are kept in a small area. Yes, many animals are kept in a small area. So you may have a small shed here and you keep your animals, 7 of them, 10 of them, but you're in a city. Are you getting that? So 2, it is easy to spot a sick animal. It is easy to spot a sick animal because the animals are indoors. It's you to provide them with water, to give them food, to clean. Now you can easily see the sick animal, unlike the paddocking system whereby the animals are in the paddocks, so they just roam within the paddocks. So you take even 2 days minus inspecting them because what is there, grass is there, you are not around, so it is not easy for you to identify the sick animal. But once you are the one having Xero Grazing, you bring the feeds, the animal is not responding, it is hot, then you notice that and say, this animal is not healthy. Now you carry it out. So carrying, it means you separate that sick one from the healthy animals. Now here, manure is easily collected. So with the manure, so manure can easily be collected. So manure is easily collected. And number 4 here, feeds are not wasted and animals get enough. Animals get enough. So feeds are not wasted. Feeds are not wasted and animals get enough. Like now, when we take them to graze from the grassland, they can trap on that food, trap on grass, urinate on that grass, then they sit on it, they sleep on it. Now after waking up, they don't want to eat it. It is now wasted. But here you put in a feed trough, then you make sure that they have to eat that and they get enough. Are we there? Then number 5 here, animals don't stray to damage people's crops. So animals don't stray. Animals do not stray or kuduka to run or kutula. Do not stray and spoil to damage people's crops. Like that. Then again, another one which is very vital, animals produce a lot of meat and milk as they don't do much work. Animals produce a lot of milk and meat. Why? They don't, because they do not do much work. Which work? Not fetching water, but now they walk, they are meandering looking for water, running this way. But now in Xero Grazing, they are there. After eating, they rest. Water is near there, so they are not bad, they are not under the sunshine, so they now put on weight. Meat is there, milk, they are going to provide you with a lot of milk. Alright, so everything which has advantages also has gotten some disadvantages. Now let us again look at the disadvantages. 1. Now let us look at the disadvantages. The disadvantages. 1. Yes, that one's correct. It is very expensive to do what? To start, as you have seen the requirements. See. And diseases spread easily. You know this diseases. That's why COVID-19 they tell us don't crowd. 2 meter distance. We have to show distance. But now these animals, they're within that shelter, shade. Can you imagine? Now once one animal gets anthrax, within seconds it has now spread to these other animals. So animals diseases are easily spread once they break out. So feeds can be grown or bought. You can now, it is, you know how it's bothering to grow or to buy, or you go to the markets to buy the bikuta, you know, you have to buy feeds. If not, you have to grow them. And you in town, you would wish to have your cacao there, again you have to buy the peelings, then you have to get grass. You know, it is not easy. So more labor is needed also. More labor is needed to feed the animals. You can get water, you can fetch water, you can get grass, you can get peelings, you can get this one. You know, more labor is needed. And also it requires a lot of cleaning. Requires a lot of cleaning. Every time you have to clean the dung. So you have to clean the stalls where these animals do dwell. And also animals lack exercise. And once they lack exercise, the bones are going to be very, very weak. So animals lack the exercise. My dear learner, have you understood? Now it's upon you. When you grow, I need you to have one of the methods we have discussed so far. Even right now, you can just get your calf. Get started, don't wait. So let us become a farmers. Farming is healthy. Okay, now let us look at another system of grazing, and this is going to be the free range system. Now this is the last system of grazing. Now what is in free range system? What is this free range system? So free range system is a system or a method of grazing where these animals are left to move freely to graze. So here the animals are left to move freely. Animals are left to move freely to do what? To graze. And this one is mainly seen in villages, rural areas. And now these animals, they are under the supervision of the herdsman or mulalo. So they are guided by the herdsman to better pasture. So just like that, just like that. Now the herdsman is directing these animals to better pasture and preventing them from spoiling people's crops. Even if they are not for neighbors, it might be you're having a garden. Now these animals, you don't wish these animals to go and spoil the crops in the garden. No, so they have to move under the guide of the herdsman. Let us look at the advantages. How good is this one to have the mulalo? Now, one, animals get enough exercise. But again, when they get a lot of exercise, the meat is going to reduce. But though they have gotten at least enough exercise, they do what they deserve to do, because they are moving freely. And it is a cheap method of feeding animals. It is a cheap method of feeding animals, because you don't need to do what? To buy. You don't need to buy the feeds. The animals moving to on their own to say, I need to eat this one, let me test this one, and so on and so forth. So another, animals are closely monitored by a herdsman. Animals are closely monitored by a herdsman. Monitored by a herdsman. Okay, so but yes, there's some disadvantages. However, it is good, but has some disadvantages. What are these? One, animals can easily get diseases and parasites because they mix or they get into contact with these other animals. So animals can easily get diseases. Animals can easily get diseases. Animals can easily get diseases. And then two, these animals can easily stray and spoil people's crops. Can stray and spoil crops. Can easily stray and spoil crops. And these animals tend to overgraze and starve. They tend to overgraze. Now when they overgraze, they are going to result into a starving. Are you getting that? So these animals, they starve, and again, even overgrazing is not good. Why? It results into soil erosion. Bambi, these animals use a lot of energy. They move from Chiraka to where you get it, they come back in the morning, they use a lot of energy. They are running, they are no, that's not good for these animals. And again, pasture is wasted. Pasture is wasted. How? As these animals trample on it. As these animals trample on it without eating it. So they just step on it, they sleep on it, they urinate on it, and they are not eating it. Then after doing that, they will not eat it. So the pasture ends up being done being wasted. So my dear learner, have you understood that? Do you remember where we started from? We started from discussing grazing. We said what is grazing. We gave the 3 methods of grazing, as in rotational. We have herding, which we called the free range, and also the zero grazing. In this video, we have discussed the two, the herding and the zero grazing. So now in the previous lessons, we discussed the rotational grazing. My dear learner, how are you there? So far, how is the work moving? How are you seeing science so far? You'll WhatsApp me, you will inbox me to tell me your feedback. Let us go in our activity. Number one is telling us to do what? What is zero grazing? What is zero grazing? Then here we have number 2. Identify 3 requirements to start zero grazing system. Identify 3 requirements to start zero grazing. Number 3, mention the advantages zero grazing has over herding. Number 4, what is temperature? And get ready for end of year exams. What is temperature? Very soon it's coming. Write down one property of matter. Number 6, where in the lungs does gaseous exchange take place? Number 7, state one characteristic of insect pollinated flowers. Number 8, what is air? Number 9, how advantageous is tethering to a farmer? Number 10, give one example. Give one example of an amphibian. Number 11, why is a sugarcane not called a stem tuber? Which part of a vacuum flask prevents heat loss? By conduction. Number 13, what is digestion? Why are farmers encouraged? Why are farmers encouraged to castrate their animals? Next here, number 15. How useful is a rake to a gardener? Number 16. Why can't a worker bee lay eggs? Number 17. Name the disease. Name the disease spread by a fly to humans. Number 18. Define family planning. Number 19. How do we call the first milk obtained from an animal after producing? 20. What is puberty? 21. Give two secondary sex characteristics. Common to both in both girls and boys. Define matter. 23. Name the insect that pollinates flowers at night. 24. How do mushrooms feed? 25. Convert 20 degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, you've been a good learner. We meet in our lesson 31.